Hello and welcome to another edition of Michigan Conservative Roundtable. I'm Mac, this is Marty, and today we're going to talk about nasty people. And coincidentally, they're, with the exception of one or two, they're all Democrats. No surprise there. I'm going to start off with...
My sister's not on this list.
Well, which sister? I'm going to start off with Maxine Waters, because this is a nasty, nasty person. She was calling for the impeachment of President Trump before he was inaugurated. She just doesn't like things that don't go her way, and she will smear, demean, lie about anybody that gets in the path of what she wants. She'll call everyone a racist.
Well, that's typical trait of the progressive left.
Right, yeah, progressive.
You know.
There's nothing progressive about them. They're communist, and that's all there is to it.
Yep, indeed.
In my opinion, they want a one-world communist state, just like the Soviets did. And I think they're well on their way to getting it at this point.
Well, they seem hell-bent for leather to doing it, yeah.
So Maxine Waters tops off our nasty people list.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm really not fond of our Hawaiian candidate, Mazie Hirono. You know, the way she came out during the Brett Kavanaugh hearings, what exactly did she say again about the men to get the...
It's time for men to sit down and shut up.
It's time for men to sit down and shut up. Now, what if any male senator had said that about any female senator, let alone about American males in general? I mean, come on, you should have a better sense about yourself and what you're doing and where you're at and the position that you're in, that you shouldn't be insulting half the population so deeply. And that's what she did. And that's just nasty, people.
Well, she was in the camp also that said that it didn't really matter if he did it, along with Alyssa Milano, who could have made our list.
Yeah.
She said that women have been getting harassed so long that men in general need to pay.
Yeah, men in general need to pay. It's like, really? I haven't done anything. Mac, you done anything?
No.
I know a lot of guys who haven't done anything they have to pay for.
I keep my hands to myself.
Absolutely. Mike Pence has the right idea, you know. Only go to dinner with your wife.
When I worked for a large automotive supplier here in the Metro Detroit area, it got so weird. They said in our diversity training, sexual harassment training, that if you looked at a woman for 9 seconds, you were sexually harassing her. So, you know, I jokingly said I'd look for 8, look away, and start my 8 seconds again. But
well, how do you do that anyway? You converse with people, and you tend to want to make eye contact. I mean, that's how conversation works.
Well, not just that, but you tend, at least I do, tend to stare off in the distance sometimes while I'm thinking about something, and I'm not really seeing anyone that I'm even allegedly staring at. But I wouldn't ride up in an elevator with a woman. I would take the stairs.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't. If I was on the elevator and a woman got on, I wouldn't get off. But
no.
If I saw it was just a woman, I'd keep walking.
Yep. Yeah, and I don't blame you. You guys can't take a chance of putting themselves in such positions anymore. You know, they just can't. I hope this isn't too soon, but I'm going to name John McCain to our list. And I'm going to cut right to the chase. We still have Obamacare because of that gutless wonder, or maybe he wasn't so gutless. Maybe he is part of the cabal and just wants to get government bigger and control more and more of our lives. My understanding is the whole reason he voted to maintain it was just to get at Donald Trump. And that is a lousy, shallow, nasty way of doing business. If something is true, if something's good policy, then it shouldn't matter who's the president. You need to support that policy.
Well, we know now that John McCain was one of the people who are at the very roots of what's going to end up being an attempted coup.
Yeah.
And not a good guy.
No.
His war hero record is inflated at best. He had to get a presidential pardon from President Nixon to avoid going to prison.
And I'll cut the man a little bit of slack for being a prisoner of war, and you don't know how that's going to affect your mind. You know, you don't know how that's going to affect your mind. So I don't want to be completely uncharitable to him, but my record, or in my opinion, his record as a senator is the critical one at this point in time.
Right.
You know, he did serve his country. He was in a POW camp, and he was treated pretty mercilessly.
Yeah, they beat the tar out of him.
Yeah,
and I don't blame anybody for giving it up.
No,
I'm not going to say I certainly wouldn't have.
I don't know that I couldn't either.
I'd like to think I wouldn't, but
yeah, but Well, C.S. Lewis says we really don't know. We really don't know. Man, I'm stumbling over my words. We really don't know what life and death issues are for us until they become a life or death issue for us.
Right.
And never having, thankfully, experienced the POW camp experience, I really am willing to cut him some slack on that. But the Senate, his record as a senator, nasty.
That said, I voted for him in 2008.
Oh, I did too.
I couldn't vote for Barack Obama. His comments regarding wanting to fundamentally change this country. I heard what he said there. I know others heard, "Oh, new and improved." Not what he said. We could go on to Bill Maher, who I find a particularly nasty person.
Oh,
He is deliberately deceitful.
yeah.
He knows what he's not a stupid guy. He knows what he's saying is propaganda and lies.
Yeah.
He's disrespectful to virtually everyone, particularly that kid in
Oh, the
Covington kid. Yeah, the Covington kid. He was particularly nasty about that kid.
Yeah, yeah.
Dead wrong about him, but he was really nasty, and he didn't take 2 seconds to get on that kid. And that kid is suing him, so I hope he cleans his house.
Yeah, but that's just it about the nastiness is, what's one of the things we hear from the media, and Bill Maher's part of the media, a couple of people on our list are part of the media, is, oh, we're objective, we're looking for the facts. It's like, no, you're not objective, and no, you're not looking for the facts, They saw Covington as an example to jump all over organized religion and young white guys and how they're being raised, and how many people apologized. There was one on CNN that offered an apology. I don't remember if it was much of an apology.
Might have been Cuomo, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember. No, I think it was the blonde woman, as useless and tool as that is for me. That's not going to jog very many memories. But
It's like seeing the blonde on Fox.
Yeah, exactly. So I heard very few apologies for it. And all it took was for the facts to come out. And they should have been man enough or woman enough, as the case may be, to tell the kid they're sorry.
Another nasty person on our list is a Republican, much like John McCain. In fact, he, as far as I'm concerned, in the Senate, all he did was take his place, and that's Mitt Romney. He's there to be a saboteur, which makes him a lowlife in my book.
Well, and you'd think people from Utah would know better. I mean, for crying out loud, this is a man that had a government record. As governor
Right.
of Massachusetts, this is a man that had the chance to get out on the campaign trail. And Utah, Mormon, conservative. I don't get it at all. I don't get it.
It goes to my problem with George Bush now, is that he was going to sit back and say nothing because past presidents don't talk about current presidents. And he didn't say a word during the Obama years. But as soon as Donald Trump got to be president, well, now he's going to chirp off.
Yeah.
Romney's like that. He's sour grapes. He's there to obstruct. He's there to be a maverick.
When he lost 2012 on his own,
Yes.
he was actually gaining momentum, and then he kind of backed off at a time that it might have been a good idea to put the pedal to the metal.
Yeah.
So the one opportunity he really had, he punted.
Right.
That doesn't make him nasty, but it contributes along the way.
Well, it's the mean-spiritedness of his being a maverick that I take issue with.
Yeah.
We could move on to a few more media people. One is Joy Behar. I was at my doctor's office and I had to listen to this hag. I was there for my blood pressure, oddly enough. And when I got inside, it was flying high because of they said, "Whoa, your blood pressure is really high today." And I said, "Well, don't have the view on out there where I'm held captive." And just listening to them, I could only imagine listening to this witch that if the Nazis had had a show during the 40s on TV about the Jews, this is what it would sound like.
Yeah.
She hates white men. She hates conservatives. She hates women who are conservative.
Is she the one that said she'd vote for a rapist if he was anti-abortion?
Yes.
See?
Yeah.
Nasty.
So, moral relativism at its worst.
Oh, yeah.
Another of that ilk is Rachel Maddow. And I can't watch this woman for more than 10 seconds.
Yeah.
The smarmy smirk on her face is, even before she opens her mouth.
Tears in her eyes over the Mueller report.
Yeah.
crying. We've talked about this before right here in the MCR. Nearly crying because her president was not found guilty of a treasonable charge, of
Right.
an impeachment charge.
Well, they don't believe that he's guilty of anything. In fact, they know he's not.
Yeah, yeah. Just nastiness. And I'm going to take a quick moment here to say that I realize there's some people on the right side of the ledger that can get nasty. And I just don't listen to those people, quite frankly. I just don't listen to those people because it's not. My daughter-in-law, who is very conservative, said if she hears a conservative talk about Obama, she tunes him out right away. And
I do too.
And that's we want civil conversation, and the Democrats, the progressive left, say they want it too. But as we've said so many times, but we're intolerant and bigoted.
Right.
Not exactly civil conversation.
Okay, Don Lemon comes to mind. He sits there on CNN and says the president's a white supremacist. Doesn't give you any real examples other than some comments made about Charlottesville, where they misquoted him repeatedly, deliberately, I would tell you. He likes to play the victim. The man's a millionaire. He's got a great job. People listen to him every day. Stupid people, but people listen to him. And he wants to play the oppressed card.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, we're going to be back in chains, and we're this far from black people not being able to vote again if we don't get Trump out of there.
You're so in chains in your studio at CNN headquarters, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know, the weights are just hanging you down, pulling you down, aren't they?
We could talk about professional athletes, and perhaps we will in the future, about their oppression. Who's that leave on our list?
Oh, we already talked about Joy Behar and Bill Maher and Romney. That leaves Schumer.
Chucky Schumer. Looks a little bit like the Penguin if he had the little round glasses and a cigarette holder in his mouth. Not a good guy. Again, another liar, another saboteur. He's a propagandist.
Oh, yeah.
And mostly he's for himself. I don't think he believes in any cause that doesn't advance Chuck Schumer.
No, I think you're absolutely right on there. You know, and this isn't a person, but I want to take time to mention that I have a hard time watching not only The View, as Mac mentioned, but CNN or MSNBC, because they are so blatantly unfair. You know, if they want to give their liberal progressive view, whatever, private channels, let them do it. But there's not really even an attempt. You know, there's not even an attempt at being civil to people. They delve into. I was watching. Is not Andrew Cuomo. Who's the Cuomo on CNN? Chris Cuomo.
Chris Cuomo.
Chris Cuomo. It's like, you know, I can't watch him. I can't watch him because he just spews venom and vitriol, and it's like, you know.
I can't stand him.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand his brother.
Mm-hmm.
I tolerated his father a little more, although I thought he was an idiot. I remember listening to a speech back in the day when I used to watch both conventions. That's impossible now. You just want to hang yourself after watching that 5 minutes of it. But Mario Cuomo was up there and he said, and this is what really caught my ear and really turned the corner for me on that kind of guy, was that if you're lucky enough to live in a good neighborhood, he said. And I thought luck has got nothing to do with living in a good neighborhood. The people who are in the neighborhood make it a good or a bad neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Obviously, some places don't have the economic advantages of other places, but really, the people, it's free to be decent to each other. It's free to look out for each other, to watch each other's kids, and do those kind of things. I can't stand that whole family.
Yeah.
I think they're bad people.
I'm pretty much with you, and I feel like we mostly see from the liberal media and the Democratic Party just a bunch of nasty people. I can't think of one Democrat or one commentator on MSNBC or CNN that I really can stomach.
None.
I can't think of any.
And there's quite a few on Fox I can't stand. Not a Chris Wallace fan. He's of the ilk of Romney and McCain. Mm-hmm. All these media people want to get invited to these parties in Washington.
Yeah.
And if they take hardline views, conservative views, they're not getting invited.
No, they don't. And I think that explains a lot right there. It's to keep them living in their own little shell where they get to go and hobnob and rub elbows with the people they want to hobnob and rub elbows with. And yeah, saying anything conservative,
and you're done.
you're done.
And
You're just done.
Shepard Smith, no use for him. They've got a few others. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah. I stand by what I said a few minutes ago. I don't think the vitriol is as bad from conservative. It's there, but I don't think it's nearly as bad as it is from the left side.
Stuart Varney is great. Lou Dobbs is great. So on and so forth.
Yeah.
But those are good people. So we're done talking about good people, and we're gonna wrap this up for today. And
Trying to end on a more positive note.
those are
that's
our
all.
nasty people that we don't like,
Yeah.
and we don't have anything much good to say about. So, as we like to say on the Michigan Conservative Roundtable, be safe, watch your six, and don't tread on me.